So to get right into it with this build, I started out with a wig foam head. Yay! It doesn't quite fit my head, but that's okay. Then I assembled my pattern and I cut it all out of foam and started sticking the foam pieces onto the head. As you can see at the top, I scored a little bit into it to help make it rounded. I stuck some duct tape on there so it would stick to the foam head easier, obviously. And, it had to take the duct tape and strip it into little pieces and everything. So what I had actually done was I took the pattern, I traced it onto more paper and broke it down into pieces. So that way, I could do the multi-layers. And this wig head is actually a little bit smaller than my head by about, I want to say 2 inches, but it's a good start. It works. And so I just was duct taping it down the main piece in various places to help keep it stable while I built up the entire helm on here to make sure that it would work properly. And so, of course, since human heads aren't flat boards like the foam sheets are, I had to tape everything down and secure it. Obviously, when I make the actual helm, I will be using something to hold it onto my wig, and I will likely use a thinner foam for the base that isn't going to pop off like that just did. And so taping down the other side. Duct tape is a beautiful thing, although that wig head is now permanently sacrificed to that helm build. I got the proportions pretty close to where I want them, I think. I might extend the piece down that's along the side of my head, because right now I feel like it looks a little Roman kind of helm. And I'm sorry, my camera keeps unfocusing. I had to use my webcam to record this rather than my nice camera. But since this foam is quite thick, it doesn't have a lot of density. It's just the regular floor foam mats. It doesn't have a whole lot of give. And since it's a mock-up, I didn't want to, spend the time with my heat gun, softening it to shape it either. So once I had that main piece down, I then started to just kind of work on the other pieces that would be building up off of this one. And, just kind of making sure that that piece itself was going to sit where I wanted it to, because that is definitely important. And you can see how I added a lot of scoring to the top. Hopefully I won't have to add quite as much when I actually build the real helm. But either way, once more, tape, holding it down, doing a great job there. Duct tape and I don't always get along. I actually ended up using my X-Acto knife to cut all of this tape because I got cheap tape, so it kept just kind of ripping down one side or the other, and not exactly ideal, but it worked in the end for what I needed. And so I think that was the last bit there. I'm probably going to extend the actual helm further back since it is the base and I want to make sure it's stable, and I'm going to have to build up a lot on top of it when I build the final helm, which will hopefully be in the next few videos. I'll be doing that, or at least a little bit more experimenting. I think I went overboard with the tape here a little bit, but it stayed. So, yay! Poor Bob. I named the wig head Bob. So that's the piece right there. As you can see, I kind of had folded the paper to kind of figure out where the scoring was needed. And then next was going to be what I call the crown. And this piece goes up and is going to have a couple of gems in it. And there's, the paper one, so I can figure out, okay, yes, that is the right way for it. And this one's going to be a little bit more tricky because I'm going to have 2 large horns coming out of it, as you can see later in the video. Just kind of figuring out how it's going to be held on there. Okay, is this crown going to be attached to the front like it is in the mock-up, or am I going to make it a completely separate piece? Because it was a little difficult to hold it on there with the tape because it's at such an awkward angle. My suggestion would be is if you have a head that's larger than your average wig head, the foam wig head like this one here. I believe male wig heads are about 21 inches roughly, or 20 inches, and female ones are like 19 inches or so. My head is 24 inches, so obviously this is a little bit awkward for me. When I build the final one, I will be building it on a block wig head, which I will have sized to my head. It'll be 24 inches, so it'll actually fit properly. And that's what I highly, highly recommend using if you can afford one. Otherwise, do the best you can with the foam wig head. I don't recommend building up on top of them because it's not going to be shaped properly. I know a lot of people who do that, but I don't recommend it. And you can see I have the crown, and then I'm working on the shorter or lower antlers. These ones are going to be like right in front of my ear. So I'm thinking these might end up being attached to a headband of some sort rather than being attached to the helm itself. The headband would obviously eventually be covered by my helm, by the rest of the helm, rather than but I would also probably need to have it underneath my wig, and these horns are going to have to be lightweight as well. It's just, oh man, because they're going to have like chains drooping off of them that 2 braids are going to be looping through, that you can see in the concept art. Unfortunately, I don't know how to edit that in there yet. So I'm taping that down to kind of just figure out, okay, yes, just make sure that, that's right around the area where I'm going to want it, which is, like I said before, roughly in front of my ears, maybe closer to where my sideburns are and where they end, just because I don't want it too low, but I don't want it like ridiculously high up around my temples because that would be too high for it. And it would also interfere with some of the other design that Zach has put in there. And so, I got that one attached. Now I'm just trying to figure out, okay, how do I attach what I call the big antler, the upper antler. The upper antlers are actually going to be attached inside of a hole type thing that I'm going to be putting into the crown piece and possibly even the base crown. And these are much heavier, so I'm definitely going to be using a lightweight material, possibly Sintra, or I might do some kind of vacuum forming. Well, Sintra is for vacuum forming, so probably going to be doing some form of Sintra for that rather than foam. And so it can also be hollow. These will have gems in them. And in my next video, I'll be going over how I personally dye gems. I mean, I've done various methods. I've done like paintbrush painting, I have done spray painting, and this time I'm actually going to try dyeing them like with a fabric dye, which I know you can also use for Pet G and for transparent Warbler. I'll be comparing both of those methods to what I'm going to be doing, which is using plastic Christmas ornaments to see how it holds up to that dye. We'll see. I think it should be okay, but I want to test it out before I fully do this on the actual helm. And so there I am, attaching the lower horn and trying to make sure the upper horn on the other side does not come off, because that would be really bad if it did. And I think I had to tape down the front of the crown a little bit there too, because it was starting to not quite, and it's unbalanced. So I'm just trying to be like, come on thing. There we go, set it down, and then get the other horn attached. I'm gonna have to change the angle a bit for the horns, I think. I might have been trying, oh yeah, I was just getting the tape there. I thought I might have been trying to like cut it or something, but nope, just tape. And these were actually really tricky to tape down because I didn't have a secure way to do it quite yet, but it worked out. And now I know, okay, maybe next time also a thinner foam would probably be better, especially for the keeping of the detailing, or maybe a more dense foam or some other method of at least cutting the material, because a lot of these angles are supposed to be, a lot of the points are supposed to be more fine and everything. And you can kind of see the helm there, trying to move it so that you can, there we go. Yeah, one of the antlers did not want to stay up. So I kept trying to fix it. But thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comment section. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you want more behind the scenes stuff, you can check me out on Patreon. Link will be down in the comment section as well. And I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Ta-da! I fixed it. There we go. The helm, the antler helm, the Blood Queen Lana'thel. Oh yeah.